very frustrating evening in East London. You know the score by now. We're going to go into the match review, player ratings, 5 takeaways, and see how the internet did react to the game last night. But me and Sim were there in the depths of East London last night, and you know what? It was a really weird atmosphere last night at the London Stadium before we get into the game. I thought it was from both sets of fans, just a kind of like a drab affair, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No real noise coming from them lot, no real noise coming from us lot. It didn't really feel like a midweek under the lights London derby, did it?
Yeah, it was a bit subdued. Obviously, we quietened them down very quickly with the goal we scored and all that. And then, obviously, 20 minutes in, they get the equaliser, and all of a sudden we're quieting down a bit, and it never really recovered from that early moment. And it was, I thought at the beginning of the game it looked like it was going to be a good atmosphere, and then it just never really got together. I don't think that stadium lends to a brilliant atmosphere anyway, to be honest. Obviously, when West Ham are beating us a lot of the time, then it can get going a bit, and that never really happened yesterday. But yeah, it was a bit of a strange atmosphere. It wasn't really like a London derby, I felt.
But I remember even walking to the stadium with you. Usually when we're walking to that stadium, we get spotted a lot by West Ham fans, and the noise is unbearable with irons and all that kind of stuff. But we didn't even really encounter that too much before the game. It was just a strange atmosphere all round. But anyway, let's get into the game. Great start from Tottenham. I thought we started probably how we all wanted us to start. A game how we haven't started for a long time. We scored an early goal. We scored in the first half for the first time in God knows how long. And really, we just came out with a bit of fire in our bellies, didn't we? Bentancur was at the heart of things. He was getting on the half turn and creating spaces and creating opportunities for us. And that's how one of the goals came. Great link-up play with him, Udogie, out wide to Timo Werner. Timo Werner, so a really nice shift and cross into the box, and Brennan Johnson was there in the middle of the box with a really nice run to put us 1-0 up. And you're thinking, all right, let's keep going. And I think we did keep going. For the first 20 minutes, first 25 minutes, we were well on top. Like I said, I thought Bentancur was the star of the show at that point in the game. And we just didn't capitalise on those chances that we were creating, essentially.
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing. Not only did we not capitalise, but then we go and concede a really stupid goal off Zouma's back, against run of play. And it really kind of took the wind out of ourselves a bit, I felt, that goal. I thought we really came out looking sharp, looking intense. The passing was quick. Bentancur was dribbling, causing havoc for the West Ham midfield. Our wide players were getting good positions. Sonny was causing a bit of trouble as well. It looked like, okay, we came out with a bit of a point to prove after, well, I wouldn't say a point to prove, but, we only just about got over the line against Luton on the weekend, even though we should have won more comfortably. And it seemed as though we want to come out and put out a statement, take the lead early, and really take this game by the scruff of the neck. And that was, I think, the intention going into this game. And you couldn't have asked for a better start than what we made. Then after a few half chances that we didn't take full advantage of, West Ham, I wouldn't even say slowly crept back in the game. They just basically got a goal out of nothing. The corner comes in, Zouma, it's just literally out of nothing. Totally against run of play.
Around, wasn't it?
Poor defending. Goes in off his back. It was like a ridiculous finish. And after that moment, it kind of took us aback. It halted our momentum. And then for the latter part of the half, we had moments, but we never really created. We didn't look as intense as we did maybe in the opening exchanges for the game, and the half kind of petered out a bit for us, unfortunately. And as much as we had lots of possession, we couldn't really make it count. I don't think West Ham, again, in the first half they had the corner. Don't remember too much else. I remember there was a chance that kind of fell to Bowen as well in the box, which he snatched at and that went wide. But they didn't have too much in that first half. But Spurs didn't capitalise on the moment that they were really putting West Ham under pressure, and unfortunately that cost us in the end of the game.
Yeah, and that's the most kind of annoying thing about this game. Because of the way we started, you really thought we were going to go on and look, we did dominate the game, let's be honest. For 90 minutes we pretty much dominated it. West Ham had moments on the breakaway in fits and spurts. They were kind of troubling us, but the most frustrating thing about it is that how dominant we were in the game, how much possession we had in the game, but how much we could actually hurt West Ham and force Fabianski into scaves, because we rarely did that throughout the game. I thought Timo Werner, it was a great assist in the first few minutes of the game, but I think he failed to threaten really West Ham for much of the game after that. I don't really remember much of what he did. And I think it's telling. For me, Vicario was probably our best player of the game, and we were the most dominant team in the game, like by far.
I don't know if he was our best player, but I do think he played well. He obviously made some crucial saves from the corner and from Antonio. A couple of times from Antonio, actually, he had to make some good saves. But yeah, I think when you look back at the game as a whole, I think we have to agree that West Ham definitely created the better chances just because of the nature of the game. They were sticking 9 men behind the ball pretty much for 90 minutes, making it so hard to break them down. I actually thought, and I think Ange actually said it after the game as well, which we said in our instant match, some of the football we played was actually really good. I thought some of our approach play was actually really impressive, and the way we played through West Ham up until the penalty area was quite encouraging, I thought. I thought the way Bentancur, Bissouma, Maddison even at times, with Porro and Udogie as well, how we were building up from the back was quite good. West Ham actually at times decided to really push up and press high from our goal kicks, and we were able to break that press really effectively. And the way we approached up until the final third was good stuff. It was like much better than like the Fulham game, as Andrew was saying as well. So that was positive. There was some really good stuff there, but once we get into the penalty area and West Ham really just so organised, so many players in front, behind the ball, like we're trying to break them down, we're trying to play these little interchanges in very, very tight spaces, and we just weren't able to do it. It's like we needed that extra yard or that extra bit of time on the ball, which West Ham just didn't afford us throughout the whole game, and that was their game plan, to stifle Tottenham and try hit us on the counter-attack. You remember that big chance from Antonio, which was obviously a very big chance, but that came from what was a blatant foul from Paquetá on Maddison, which I think everyone couldn't believe that was what wasn't given. Yeah. And then they create that
just
chance.
Barges him in the back. Like how can that not be given?
And it came directly from that, because the ball then falls to Ward-Prowse. He plays a very, very early ball over the top to Antonio, who obviously probably should have scored from that moment. But apart from that, they had that moment. They had the Mavropanos header from a corner, which would have been given offside because Antonio was interfering anyway. But I think at the time, obviously, it was a good save from Vicario.
Yeah, they did call it offside.
So apart from those two moments, I don't remember too many real attacks West Ham had. Apart from, I think, stoppage time was a bit of a basketball game. We had a counter, they had a counter, and it could have gone either way in the last minute or so. But I think West Ham were stifled, and it's not so easy to do that because they've got some really good attacking players. I thought defensively, actually, we were pretty solid. Maybe I think from set pieces we looked a bit suspect, but I think in general, in open play, apart from that one Antonio chance, and also they had that one where Bentancur gave it away on the edge of the area, and obviously it was a shot by Antonio, which was a comfortable save at the end from Vicario anyway. We did stifle West Ham, and that was encouraging. And because you look back at the Fulham game, how many times they opened us up, and how many times they were able to counter us, and we weren't doing things correctly defensively. That could have been even more goals that game. So definitely better than that game defensively, but it's just a frustration that West Ham did a job on us defensively. We just could not break that door down, and that was really frustrating.
As much as they were stifled, we were stifled as well. Let's be honest about that. And the way I looked at it was very similar to the Man City Arsenal game. I don't think West Ham came with this into this game with the intention to win it. I think they came with the intention to stop us, and if they can nick a goal at the other end, then that would be great. And Spurs were the ones in the ascendancy, heavy possession, and just couldn't break down the low block, and it was very similar to that Man City Arsenal game.
There was a few, especially before Richie came on, there was a few really frustrating moments where we get the ball out wide, let's say to Porro, and he's got a bit of time to look for a cross, but there's just no one in there. There was no one in the box, and he was forced to cut it back and again go for these little short interchanges. And the thing is, we were getting some joy in terms of what I mean by joy is we were actually finding players in the box with these touches, but unfortunately, you have to, in these situations, you have to be so perfect. Everything has to go 100% right. The weight of pass has to be 100%. The touch has to be 100%, and it just wasn't there. There was a couple of occasions where Porro pulls it back for Son, and if the weight of pass was just a little slower, Son could have taken it first time, but there was just a bit too much on the pass. I mean, he had to take a touch, and then once he takes a touch, that little yard of space he made for himself was clogged up. Then Son has a moment. He gets a touch. He passes it to Maddison across the face of goal, and if the weight of pass again was on it, Maddison could have taken that shot first time. Unfortunately, the weight of pass was a bit too much. It means Maddison had to take a touch, and that yard is gone. And these kind of very, very fine margins all make the difference in this level, not just at this level, but in this kind of game where you have the opposition just crowding you, leaving absolutely no space. You have to be absolutely perfect. Your weight of pass has to be to the second, has to be perfect. Your touch has to be absolutely in front of you, so you can take that shot first time. And I don't know whether it was just tiredness or just, look, when we're playing against this opposition, we just weren't at our best, and those moments didn't fall for us, unfortunately. And I think those will come with time and with practice. Those things, when you're coming against a good team like West Ham, where you have to be perfect, those will come. But unfortunately, yesterday, we just weren't perfect.
No, we weren't. And when things aren't working for you like that, and when West Ham are stifling you like that, you need to come up with kind of different solutions. And I felt like we were just trying the same move over and over again, get it out wide, get it into the box. But I felt there were moments in there where Sonny was hesitating to shoot, Maddison was hesitating to shoot. Like, why not, with these players that we have? I've said it time and time again this season. Why not try a different avenue to attack their goal? Take a shot from 25 yards, 20 yards. Test the keeper. You know, he's a sub-keeper coming in, Fabianski. Why not go and test that keeper from long-range shots? I don't get why we just keep going in this kind of semicircle where we're like keep testing, probing over and over again. And yes, it's right to do that and find avenues and try and pick the lock, but you've got to try other avenues as well.
I think we were. I really did. I thought we were trying different ways to get through them. They were just doing a really good job in terms of the shooting from distance. We were talking about, you know, we've got Son and Maddison in the team, two of the best long range shooters in the league. And I agree with you. When given the opportunity, they should look. To take advantage of that skill a bit more often. I did think they tried on a few occasions to try and get the shot off. They just weren't able to get the angle, and I think they were being closed down very, very quickly. I think you have to give credit to West Ham. They were super solid, super hard to break down, and I did think we tried very different avenues. I thought we were going out wide a lot. I also thought we were trying to go through the centre a lot as well and play those little quick interchanges. And there were times where it was working. We got a few interchanges, but when it got to the point, okay, we need to get a shot off, we just couldn't make it happen. And it's very frustrating. That happens sometimes. Look, that's why teams do a low block, because it's effective and it can work. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. When a team has no intention of trying to keep possession against you and trying to play any other way apart from set pieces and on the occasional counter-attack, it's going to be very, very difficult to get those moments. The frustrating thing for me is we did get that advantage. We got the lead, and at that point, okay, you've got the lead now, and so you have to either go for the kill or you have to draw them out so that they're not playing in that low block, so that they're leaving space in behind. And the frustrating thing is, once we had that advantage, we then gave it up really unnecessarily with a stupid goal from a corner against run of play.
So quick as well, so quick. And we gave away 9 corners on the day against this West Ham team. And I felt like we just kept giving away really silly corners as well. And when you've got a team as bad as defending set pieces as we are, and how good of attacking set pieces of West Ham are, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah. West Ham are so effective, and we nearly conceded a second one as well in that second half if it wasn't for the offside. So we know that was something vulnerable. I was looking at the stats. Five of our last 10 games, we've conceded goals from corners now. And that is now a pattern. I think anyone could look at that, and I think that's something we've been complaining about definitely recently. Ange has been put to him about the set piece coach. Are we suffering from not having one? Ange said he doesn't hire a specific set piece coach because he believes set pieces shouldn't be something separate from our overall game, whatever that means. And now we're in a position where we can one every 2 games we're conceding goal from corners and we're looking vulnerable. I think we've conceded over 9 goals from 9 expected goals now from corners this season. So it's definitely a big vulnerability. And I don't know whether it's Ange being stubborn or it is something that will improve in time. But at the moment, it's something that even we pointed out in pre-season. You know, remember that West Ham game in pre-season? I think we conceded a goal from a corner, and Ange was saying at the time, you know, he gave the team a bit of a pass because he'd only just come in, and it's something that they hadn't really worked on that much because they're so they're more interested in working their in possession play, and that's, you know, what they got to build from. But we're now in April, and it's still a problem.
Yeah.
So that is something that Ange has to be held responsible for.
Absolutely. I don't criticise Ange too much, but I think that this is something that he needs to take criticism on, because he clearly needs some sort of a helping hand to help us, not only just on defensive set pieces, but the attacking set pieces as well. I don't think we've been good enough recently. So we need to be more of a threat from attacking set pieces. We need to be more solid from defensive set pieces. All you do need to do is go look at Arsenal and go look at how they've implemented set pieces under their set piece coach. I mean, they're brilliant at defending and attacking set pieces, and you've got to give so much credit to this set piece coach that they've hired here. And, you know, it did get better for us under Gianni Vio when we had him. He's gone now, and it seems to have regressed again. So we need to sort out this situation where we don't have a set piece coach, because it's clearly hindering us in both facets of the game. But in terms of individual performances yesterday, let's talk about Mickey van der Ven first and foremost. And with Mickey, I thought he had a really strong game for the most part, but there were some kind of worrying moments as well from Mickey, in my opinion. We said after the game how good he was, and he was. I think he was a massive reason why West Ham couldn't spring and counter on us effectively throughout the game. But that moment where you're talking about where Antonio goes one-on-one with Vicario, you know, that's poor from Mickey van der Ven. He kind of just slips or something. I don't know what happens there. And Antonio's one-on-one with the keeper, and Vicario makes a good save. I did feel as well like sometimes playing out the back, Mickey's passing wasn't exactly spot on.
Yeah, it's not as good as Romero's. I don't think he gave the ball away too many times, but I think obviously Romero, when he passes it forward, he does it like with a purpose. I feel like he does it very progressively into a player who looks like to get forward. I feel like Mickey just plays it a lot safer, but that's been something I've always had about him. In terms of that moment that you're talking about, the annoying thing is he actually gets ahead of Antonio. He gets back, and you're thinking, okay, Mickey's got it. And I don't know what happens. When I originally saw it, I thought he got fouled. I thought Antonio pulled him back, and the referee just didn't give it. On looking at it back, I think he just slips, or he just, I don't know what, lost his footing somehow. And Antonio obviously got that chance and obviously should have scored. That doesn't happen often with Mickey. When he gets back in those positions, usually that's it, the game is done. And by and large yesterday, in those situations, he absolutely commanded them. So I do think he had a very good game, but obviously that moment he'll look back on and be annoyed that whatever happened in that moment. I think he was complaining that he got fouled, but I looked back at it, I don't think he was.
It wasn't a foul.
I don't think it was a foul. I think he just, I don't know, maybe he just got out-muscled, and that is just, you know, Antonio can do that to anyone, to be honest. He's a very, very strong attacker, one of the strongest attackers in the league. I think you have to say Mikel Antonio in those kind of positions. So it did happen. Hopefully it won't happen again, but I also have to give him credit because he did get back in the position overall, because Antonio started well ahead of him and he was able to get back there and actually get ahead of him. So most centre-backs probably wouldn't have even got there, to be honest, to Antonio in that situation. So I'm not going to criticise him too much for it. I think overall he had a very good game. And the reason, look, West Ham are a very good counter-attacking team with Kudus, Bowen and Antonio. They've got some of the best counter-attacking players in the league, especially in Bowen. And the reason why Bowen, by and large, wasn't able to get, I don't think Bowen had a shot all game, and I think it's because how effective Mickey van der Ven was in those situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Like 9 times out of 10 he's mopping those up. It was just that one time, and if that goal goes in, we're probably sitting here blaming van der Ven the next day for losing the game.
I'm not blaming him. It's going to be obviously good if that goes in. It goes down as a mistake. But he's never made a mistake like that in the whole season. It will just be a one-off kind of thing, in my opinion. So it's not going to be something I'm going to be looking at thinking, is there a pattern here? I'm just thinking that can happen in in any game, really. And obviously I'll be annoyed, but it's not something I'm going to be looking at thinking it's something to worry about.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, but you got to call it what it is on the game. 9 times out of 10, he was doing those kind of runs, those recovery runs, time and time again, and every time it was perfect. And it was just that one time he gets back, he slips, and if they score, it does go down to his error. But look, I don't think it takes away from the really good game they did have, but it's just something to note within the game. Rodrigo Bentancur, let's talk about him, because I felt in the first 20 minutes he was unplayable. He really was. He came back. We saw he was getting the ball on the half turn. He was creating time and time again. And I don't know what happened to him after that, because after that first 20 minutes, he just kept giving the ball away really sloppily. A chance came from his bad pass in the midfield. I think it was Lucas Paquetá, I think, had a chance, if I remember correctly. And a few times he was misplacing quite a few passes. And I felt for the first 20 minutes, he was literally probably the best player on the pitch. And then after that, I think he regressed quite quickly.
I don't think he was as bad as you're saying in the rest of the game, but he did give the ball away in some worrying moments, and I think he'll be frustrated with those, because that's not what Bentancur is all about. He's usually got very good passing ability. We know that. I thought he was really probably the best player on the pitch for those opening exchanges, and I was really excited about him. I thought he was. I thought this guy, okay, he's back now. I thought he had a great cameo, obviously, last game when he came on. I thought he was carrying that on in this game, and I was so impressed. But yeah, you are right. His performance definitely did drop off from what it was in the first 20 minutes. But I did still feel like there was some good stuff, even in the second half when he was playing. He was playing the ball forward. I thought what he was doing really well is from their goal kicks. He was winning some really good aerial challenges, making sure that Tottenham sustained the pressure. I thought his dribbling was really good as well. I thought they really struggled to get the ball off him. There were some sloppy passes in there, especially that one when he passed it across the face of goal and he gave it straight to, I think it was Ward-Prowse, and I think Antonio had a shot. So he'll be frustrated with that moment. I thought he was rightly taken off. I think obviously we probably needed that at that point with 20 minutes to go, a bit more energy anyway. I don't think he was taken off because he was playing badly. I think it was more just get a bit more energy in those last 20 minutes. But I think it was positive overall for me, for Bentancur, apart from those moments. I think he'll. It's not something I associate with Bentancur, with those sloppy passes in those dangerous positions. I know in weeks gone by, I think, what was it, the Brighton game, he gave the ball away on the edge of the box and stuff like that. So it has happened recently a few times. But I think overall, from what I saw from Bentancur, for me, he's getting better. And I'm excited to see how he's going to end the season.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like the first 20 minutes was a massive step in the right direction for Rodrigo, but I was quite frustrated with him by the time he came off with those sloppy passes, and I felt like Paquetá was growing in influence a little bit, and that was due to maybe the regression that Bentancur was showing in the game. James Maddison, I felt another poor display from him, to be fair. Look, as you said in the post-match last night, he was growing in influence by the time he got taken off, and maybe if he would have stayed on the pitch, he could have created something for us in those last 15 minutes when maybe Kulusevski was on the pitch. But I thought first half and maybe first period of the second half, I thought it was fairly poor from Maddison.
Well, look, when you have a player like Maddison on the pitch and he hasn't had any shots on target and he hasn't, had many chances created, you're always going to say that he hasn't had a good game, because that's his best qualities. And if he's not showing that off, then you're going to turn around. Look, of course, you're going to say he hasn't had a great game, because that is when Maddison is at his best, when he's doing those kind of things. I did think he was picking up some really good positions, and I thought in general when we were in the middle third, he was actually doing some really good things, especially in our build-up play, allowing us to progress up the pitch. And he was trying to find different solutions in the final third. He was trying to break down that door. It was very, very difficult for him, like it was for everyone, to get any joy from that West Ham defence, especially with 9 men behind the ball. Every time he got anywhere near the penalty area, he was closed down and he had 2 or 3 men around him. He had a couple of times where he tried to get shots off, but it got blocked on both occasions. And he'll be frustrated with that, I'm sure. I actually don't think, in general, again, I thought it was similar to Luton. I don't think when he was on the ball or anything, he was bad. Like, I don't think he did anything bad. Like, he wasn't giving the ball away sloppily. He wasn't having bad touches. Like, I thought he looked good when he was on the ball. He looked sharp. they just made it very, very difficult for him. And on this occasion, he couldn't get the better of him. And as you say, I thought he was actually growing in the game, and he had that really bad moment where he, right on the edge of the box, he's about to pull the trigger, and Paquetá bundles him over. Cynical foul. I couldn't believe the referee didn't give a free kick, and obviously West Ham created a chance from that. I thought there was a few occasions where he was actually getting in really good spaces on the half turn, really starting to run at West Ham and cause them problems. And then he would give the ball out wide and the move would break down. I don't think he was bad, like, individually, but when you come off when he comes off and he hasn't created any chances or had any has any good chances himself to score, then you're not going to be satisfied, because that's what Maddison's all about.
Yeah, but it's a clear, I mean, since he's come back from his injury, he's been back a while now, and it's a clear for me drop off since the first 10 games of the season. You know, in those first 10 games before he got the injury, or 8 games, however long it was, he was dominating games. He was dictating the tempo of the game. He was the hub of everything. He was running games essentially all by himself at times, and he's just not doing it to that same level.
I still think he is. Not to that same level, but I still think he's doing all those things. I still think he's actually playing well. I don't think he played back that badly yesterday.
What, you're saying to me it's not a drop off in the first 10
I am saying
games,
it's a drop off, but I'm saying he's still doing those things you're talking about. I think that as a team, we're not at that, for some reason or another. We're not at that domination level that we were in those first 10 games, where we were just batting teams away. Or to be fair, even those first 10 games, we had to struggle in some of them as well. But obviously, we're not at that level right now. I think that's clear. I'm from what I'm seeing from Maddison, honestly, I think at the moment, he's still dropping deep, dictating the play. I still think his passing game is still pretty good. In the final third, he's not being as effective. I think we can all agree on that. But I'm not seeing a Maddison at the moment struggling to impact our build-up or impact games. I'm definitely seeing Maddison at the moment struggling to get those goal contributions that we know he can get, for sure. Although he has had a few since he's come back from injury, not to the level though as he was pre-injury. But I think he's actually not playing too badly. I really believe that. I think, again, when you come off the pitch and he hasn't had those goal contribution moments, or those moments in the final third, people think he's had a bad game. But I think in our general play, I still think he's doing a lot of good things. And that's what I'm seeing from James Maddison. I just think if he keeps playing, those moments will come for him. When you got a game like yesterday, it's very, very difficult. And it didn't happen for him yesterday, unfortunately. But I still think I don't think there's been... People come away from the past few games and see Maddison not having goal contributions, and think there's been a massive drop on his performance. And I do think he's not been as good, but I don't think he's been like completely terrible like people are suggesting. I think he's not been as good as he was before, and I want to see him get back to those levels, but I'm still seeing a lot of good stuff from Maddison, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you're looking at the last 3 games. This game against West Ham, the game against Luton, and the game against Fulham, right? I don't think any of these 3 games you can say he's come off and played really well. I think that's just reality. You know, you've got to call a spade a spade. Yeah, I love James Maddison. I love what he brings to the team, but he's nowhere near his top form at the moment. I don't think he's anywhere near that.
He's not near his top form, because when he is, he's one of the best players in the league. But okay, but when he's not on his top form, he's still providing something for the team, in my opinion, like something in general play. He's still doing a lot of good things, in my opinion. So I still see what he's adding to the team. I want to see him be more effective in the final third. I know he can do it. We all know Maddison can do that. But I'm still seeing a lot of good stuff for me from Maddison. I think from the discourse I'm reading on social media, people are saying there needs to be a discussion about him, all these kind of things. I'm not at that stage yet, in my opinion. That's just what I'm saying.
Look, I wouldn't drop him out the team or anything, but, you know, we still need to have that discussion in terms of he needs to improve, and he does need to improve, in my opinion. That's just the reality. A player who else has come under a lot of stick this season since those first games that we're talking about is Bissouma, who I thought had a much better display last night night than he has done in recent weeks. He was getting the ball, particularly in the second half, and driving forward with it. He was mopping up everything that came in the middle of the park as well. I thought it was a really positive display for Yves.
Yeah, and said it himself yesterday. He thought Bissouma was outstanding. I think we said it in our instant match reaction. I thought it was a much better display. He looked a lot more confident. He was striding on the ball a lot more confidently as well. And what I loved about him was, there are times where he's running back towards his own goal and he's got a man chasing him down, but he was confident enough to kind of stride away from them, not just make a simple pass, but actually, dribble away from them and then find a teammate in those going forward phases. And he looked a lot more confident. I thought defensively he was a big part of why West Ham were nullified as well. Paquetá grew in a bit of influence at times, but I thought by and large Bissouma dealt with him fairly effectively, and I thought it was a really, really good performance from him. And hopefully he carries on in this kind of vein, because I thought it was much better than it has been in recent weeks.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. I really enjoyed that Bissouma performance. Probably his best display, I think, since coming back from the AFCON at least. But anyway, Brennan Johnson getting another goal contribution yesterday. Goal. It's just like we see these goals time and time again now with Brennan, where he makes that run into the far. Well, this time it was actually towards the centre of the goal. Finds himself a nice open goal, and that brings him out to more goal contributions this season than James Maddison. Which I think is unbelievable.
Well, he's had a lot more time on the pitch, hasn't he? Because Maddison missed 3 months. But Brennan, I think, 6 goal contributions now in his past 6 games. So he's really coming into form. I thought there were times as well. What I liked about Brennan was he was running down the byline, but actually when he had the opportunity, it didn't quite come off for him during the game. But there was a few occasions where he actually noticed a bit of space centrally, and he actually went for it dribbling wise, and he actually attacked that space and didn't quite make it on a couple of occasions. He got stopped right at the last minute when he was about to pull off a shot and things like that. But I'm really happy that he's confident enough to try those different things and try different avenues with his running, rather than just trying to go down the byline all the time and be a bit predictable. When he notices a bit of space centrally, actually drive for it and go for it. And I think he did that on a few occasions. Obviously, he got the goal. I actually thought as well there was a couple of occasions where he did whip a few good balls across the face of goal, and no one was really gambling, and no one kind of took the initiative to get on the end of them. That was really frustrating, because I thought there was some good stuff there. Obviously, there were some occasions as well where he was crowded out and he wasn't able to affect it. But I think by and large, it was another positive display from him. And it was great him actually impacting the game from the start, because that's something we've a lot of people have criticised him for, and he really doing well off the bench. But I thought another confident display, and take it to 12 goal contributions now this season. And as I say, 6 in his last 6 games. He's in great form, and I'm really, really happy for him, because he's really starting to perform consistently now.
Yeah, 5 goals, 7 assists this season, 8 if you add the own goal from last week as well. So Brennan is really growing in this Spurs shirt, and I felt last night, in terms of our attacking players, if anything was going to happen, it was probably going to come through him, because I thought he was our most dangerous attacker on the day for sure. But look, it's a really frustrating night last night at the London Stadium. We did draw 1-1. We did deserve to win the game, I thought. Maybe deserve to win the games a bit too much, but we were the team, you could see that we're a much better team on the day. We were the ones in the ascendancy. We were the one controlling the game. But we just needed to create more. That's just the Achilles heel. That was our Achilles heel last night.
Yeah, I think a draw was a fair result, because I think you have to give credit to West Ham. They defended very well, and they deserve credit for that. We did try different avenues of trying to get through them, and we just weren't able to do it. So I think from that point of view, you do have to give West Ham credit for how they defended. But from the football that we did play, I think there is more positives to take than a lot of people are suggesting. I think, yes, we struggled to create the level of chances that we would hope to create in this kind of game, or in any game, to be honest, the way we want to go forward with Ange Postecoglou, the football that we're playing. But I did see some really good football from our approach play. I did see some really good build-up play from Spurs. I saw some really good control. The way we controlled the game compared to our last away game against Fulham was a lot more positive on that front. So there were some good things about it. Obviously, then, Ange will not be happy with the level of chances we created, and obviously neither will Spurs fans, and that's understandable, because you don't want to go through a game like this in an opportunity where I felt like West Ham were getting tired as well. So I did feel like it was a bit of an opportunity to take the game to them and win that game. So unfortunately that didn't happen. But I thought there was a lot more positives than people suggesting in terms of the football that we played and the control we had. And as Ange said, the maturity we showed in a lot of facets of that game, it was a lot better. So I'm not saying it was a great performance, because it wasn't. I thought a draw was a fair result, but I don't think it was a performance, in my opinion, that suggests we're not going in the right direction.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But, you know, it's always a hard game going to the London Stadium, playing against West Ham away. We haven't won there since 2018 under Jose Mourinho in his first game in charge. So you know how hard this game is for Spurs to go to. They always try their hardest against Spurs than they do against anyone else in this league. So having said that, you know, 1-1 is not the most terrible result to take away from the London Stadium. But I just felt like with the amount of possession and control we had in the game, to not win this game is a bit of a kick in the teeth, just because of the opportunity that could be missed in this game with Villa playing Man City this week. It's just, I think it could be a vital missed opportunity, but we'll see how the rest of the league pans out. But I guess if Man City do lose tonight, or is it tonight or tomorrow?
Tonight.
Tonight, then I guess it's 1 point gained.
Yeah, and let's just hope that they can do us a favour. Obviously, Villa without Watkins, without McGinn, so it's going to be very tough for them to get anything at the Etihad. If they do, fair play to them, and this will be a missed opportunity for Spurs. But if Man City win, then we go into the weekend having gained a point in them, and then the pressure will be on them. So
and it swings into our hands as well, because it will be 2 points behind with the game in hand.
So I think it's still all to play for, and I'm still very confident of getting top 4.
All right, that is our match review for the 1-1 frustrating draw with West Ham last night.